Emmer wheat, also known as farro especially in Italy, or hulled wheat, is a type of awned wheat. Emmer is a tetraploid. The domesticated species are Triticum turgidum subsp. Dicoccum and Triticum turgidum conv. Dirum. The wild species is called Triticum turgidum subsp. Dicoccoides. The principal difference between the wild and the domestic species is that the ripened seed head of the wild species shatters and spreads the seed onto the ground, while in the domesticated Emmer the seed head remains intact, thus making it easier for humans to harvest the grain. Along with einkorn wheat, Emmer was one of the first crops domesticated in the Near East. It was widely cultivated in the ancient world, but is now a relic crop in mountainous regions of Europe and Asia. Taxonomy. Strong similarities in morphology and genetics show that wild Emmer is the wild ancestor and a crop wild relative of domesticated Emmer. Because wild and domesticated Emmer are interfertile with other tetraploid wheats, some taxonomists consider all tetraploid wheats to belong to one species, Turgidum. Under this scheme, the two forms are recognized at subspecies level, thus T. Turgidum subsp. Dicoccoides and T. Turgidum subsp. Dicoccum. Either naming system is equally valid. The latter lays more emphasis on genetic similarities. For a wider discussion, see wheat #genetics and breeding and wheat taxonomy. Wild Emmer grows wild in the Fertile Crescent of the Near East. It is a tetraploid wheat formed by the hybridization of two diploid wild grasses, Triticum euritu, closely related to wild einkorn, and an as yet unidentified Aegialops species related to A. Caesir or A. speltoides. Morphology. Like einkorn and spelt wheats, Emmer is a hulled wheat. In other words, it has strong glooms that enclose the grains, and a semi-brittle rachis. On threshing, a hulled wheat spike breaks up into spikelets. These require milling or pounding to release the grains from the glooms. Wild Emmer wheat spikelets effectively self-cultivate by propelling themselves mechanically into soils with their awns. During a period of increased humidity during the night, the awns of the spikelet become erect and draw together, and in the process push the grain into the soil. During the daytime the humidity drops and the awns slacken back again. However, fine silica hairs on the awns act as hooks in the soil and prevent the spikelets from reversing back out again. During the course of alternating stages of daytime and nighttime humidity, the awns' pumping movements, which resemble a swimming frog kick, will drill the spikelet as much as an inch or more into the soil. History. Wild Emmer is native to the Fertile Crescent of the Middle East, growing in the grass and woodland of hill country from modern-day Israel to Iran. In 1906, Aaron Aaronson's discovery of wild Emmer wheat growing in Rosh Pinna created a stir in the botanical world. Better source needed. Emmer wheat has been found in archaeological excavations and ancient tombs. Emmer was collected from the wild and eaten by hunter-gatherers for thousands of years before its domestication. Grains of wild Emmer discovered at Oalo II had a radiocarbon dating of 17,000 BC and at the pre-pottery Neolithic A site of Netiv Hagduda, 10,000–9,400 years old. The oldest evidence of domesticated Emmer wheat has found near Damascus, Syria, dating from 7,650 to 8,200 years BC. The dryness of the site, requiring irrigation for agriculture, suggests that the Emmer was introduced as an already domesticated plant from elsewhere outside the Damascus basin. Emmer is found in a large number of Neolithic sites scattered around the Fertile Crescent. From its earliest days of cultivation, Emmer was a more prominent crop than its cereal contemporaries and competitors, einkorn wheat and barley. Small quantities of Emmer are present during Period 1 at Meghna on the Indian subcontinent, showing that Emmer was already cultivated there by 7000–5000 BC. In the Near East, in southern Mesopotamia in particular, cultivation of emmer wheat began to decline in the early Bronze Age, from about 3000 BC, and barley became the standard cereal crop. This has been related to increased salinization of irrigated alluvial soils, of which barley is more tolerant. Although this study has been challenged, emmer had a special place in ancient Egypt, where it was the main wheat cultivated in pharaonic times. Although cultivated einkorn wheat was grown in great abundance during the Third Dynasty, and large quantities of it were found preserved, along with cultivated emmer wheat and barleys, in the subterranean chambers beneath the step pyramid at Saqqara. Neighboring countries also cultivated einkorn, durum and common wheat, in the absence of any obvious functional explanation. The greater prevalence of emmer wheat in the diet of ancient Egypt may simply reflect a marked culinary or cultural preference, or may reflect growing conditions having changed after the Third Dynasty. Emmer and barley were the primary ingredients in ancient Egyptian bread and beer. Emmer, recovered from the Phoenician settlement at Volubilis, has been dated to the middle of the first millennium BC. Emmer wheat may be one of the grains as mentioned in ancient rabbinic literature as one of the 5 grains to be used by Jews during Passover as matzah. However, this depends on the meaning of the Hebrew term shibboleth shual, which is uncertain and debated. The matter is further complicated by the cultivation of spelt in Israel of biblical times and onwards. However, it is fairly certain that spelt did not grow in ancient Israel, and emmer was probably a significant crop until the end of the Iron Age. Likewise, references to emmer in Greek and Latin texts are traditionally translated as spelt, even though spelt was not common in the classical world until very late in its history. In northeastern Europe, emmer was one of the most important cereal species, and this importance can be seen to increase from 3400 BC onwards. Pliny the Elder notes that although emmer was called far in his time, formerly it was called adorium, providing an etymology explaining that emmer had been held in glory, and later in the same book he describes its role in sacrifices. Cultivation. Today emmer is primarily a relic crop in mountainous areas. Its value lies in its ability to give good yields on poor soils, and its resistance to fungal diseases such as stem rust that are prevalent in wet areas. Emmer is grown in Armenia, Morocco, Spain, the Carpathian Mountains on the border of the Czech and Slovak republics, Albania, Turkey, Switzerland, Germany, Greece and Italy. It is also grown in the US, as a specialty product. A traditional food plant in Ethiopia, this relatively little-known grain has potential to improve nutrition, boost food security, foster rural development and support sustainable land care. In Italy, uniquely, emmer cultivation is well established and even expanding. In the mountainous Garfagnana area of Tuscany, emmer is grown by farmers as an IGP product, with its geographic identity protected by law. Production is certified by a cooperative body, the Consorzio Produttori Faro della Garfagnana. IGP-certified farro is widely available in health food shops across Europe, and even in some British supermarkets. The demand for Italian farro has led to competition from non-certified farro, grown in lowland areas and often consisting of a different wheat species, spelt. Food uses. Emmer's main use is as a human food, though it is also used for animal feed. Ethnographic evidence from Turkey and other emmer growing areas suggests that emmer makes good bread, and this is supported by evidence of its widespread consumption as bread in ancient Egypt. Emmer bread is available in Switzerland. In Italy, whole emmer grains can be easily found in most supermarkets and groceries. Emmer bread can be found in bakeries in some areas, and emmer has traditionally been consumed in Tuscany as whole grain in soup. higher in fiber than common wheat. Emmer's use for making pasta is a recent response to the health food market. Some consumers, however, judge that Emmer pasta has an unattractive texture. Emmer has also been used in beer production. As with all varieties and hybrids of wheat, Emmer is unsuitable for people with gluten-related disorders, such as celiac disease, non-celiac gluten sensitivity and wheat allergy sufferers, among others. Etymology. First use. 1908 Origin. Species of wheat, from German Emmer, variant of Amel corn, from amyl, starch, from Latin amylum.